There's a certain weight to the way a room can hold your entire life in its corners, isn't there? I'm Chloe, 29 years old, and if you peeked into my world right now, you'd see a small apartment brimming with books, their spines cracked and loved, stacked like silent sentinels on every shelf and surface. You'd see me too, curled into the edge of a worn leather couch by the window, the kind of spot that's molded to my shape over years of quiet hours. And you'd see Nathaniel, my husband, sitting just a few feet away, his own book open, his brow furrowed in that way it always is when he's lost in a story. We've built a life on these shared silences, a love stitched together by the rustle of pages and the soft patter of rain against the glass. In the beginning, it was a symphony, a perfect harmony of unspoken understanding. We'd sit here for hours, exchanging glances over a particularly haunting line of prose, our smiles saying more than words ever could. I'd trace the edge of a page, knowing he was right there with me, even if we didn't speak. It was enough, more than enough. It was everything. But time has a way of shifting things, doesn't it? What once felt like a comforting blanket of quiet has thickened into something else, a gloomy veil that presses down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. These days, our silences aren't shared. They're isolating. The space between us on this couch feels like a chasm, and I don't know how to cross it. Our conversations, when they happen, are clipped, mechanical. Did you pay the electric bill? Can you grab milk on your way home? The words are there, but they're hollow, stripped of the warmth we used to weave into every syllable. Even his touch, once so deliberate, so full of meaning, feels like an afterthought, a hand on my shoulder as he passes by, nothing more. I catch myself staring at him sometimes, wondering who this man is. This stranger wearing the face of the person I swore to love forever. And worse, I wonder who I've become in his eyes. There's an ache in me, a deep, gnawing longing for something I can't even name. It's like I'm reaching for a memory of us that's just out of grasp, my fingers brushing empty air. I think about the places we used to go, the little rituals that tethered us. The library down on Elm Street was one of them. We'd wander in on lazy Saturdays, losing ourselves in the stacks, the smell of old paper and dust a kind of magic. There was always this librarian there, Julian, with sharp eyes that seemed to see right through you, like he knew the story behind every person who walked in. He'd nod at us, a quiet acknowledgement, his presence enigmatic but unintrusive. I never thought much of him beyond that, just a fixture in the, so here we are, driving to that same library on Elm Street, the one that used to be our sanctuary. The sky outside is a heavy gray, the kind of gray that feels like it's pressing down on the world, muffling everything. The hum of the engine fills the car, a low, steady drone that's somehow louder than any words we might have said. I'm staring out the passenger window, watching the buildings blur past, their brick facades weathered and tired. My eyes catch on the sidewalks, and I start counting the cracks, one after another, a mindless game to keep myself occupied, to avoid the suffocating silence between us. Nathaniel's hands are tight on the steering wheel, his knuckles pale, almost white, like he's holding on to more than just the car. I steal a glance at him, at the hard set of his jaw, the way his eyes are fixed straight ahead, unreadable. I wonder what he's thinking, but I don't ask. I don't know how to anymore. I let my mind drift back to a different time, a memory that feels like it belongs to someone else. We were in this same car, years ago, heading to the library on a day much like this one. I'd stumbled over a word in a book title, something ridiculous, like ephemeral, twisting it into something nonsensical. Nathaniel had laughed, a real, deep laugh that filled the car, and I'd joined in, my cheeks hurting from smiling so wide. We'd teased each other about it the whole way there, coming up with absurd pronunciations just to keep the laughter going. That moment, that lightness, feels so far away now, like a dream I can barely remember the details of. I look at him again, hoping for some flicker of that old warmth, but there's nothing. just the hum of the engine and the endless cracks in the sidewalk. We pull up to the library, and I'm struck, as always, by its grandeur. It's an old building, all towering stone columns and intricate stained glass windows that catch the dim light in shards of color. It looks like something out of a storybook, a place where secrets are kept in every corner. We step out of the car, and as we approach the heavy wooden door, it creaks under Nathaniel's push, a sound that echoes in the quiet. Inside, the familiar scent of aged paper and polished wood wraps around me like a memory. It's comforting in a way that nothing else is right now. The air is cool, almost reverent, and I can hear the soft murmur of distant whispers, like the library itself is alive with quiet stories. High above, the light filters through those stained glass windows, casting golden streaks across the worn wooden floor, illuminating specks of dust that dance in the beams. Nathaniel and I exchange a small, forced smile, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. It's a ritual of its own, this acknowledgement before we part ways. Without a word, we drift apart, him toward the history section, I assume, while I wander deeper into the library, my fingers trailing along the edges of the shelves as I go. The quiet here is different from the silence at home. It's not oppressive. It's expectant, like the building itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. I find myself in a secluded aisle, far from the main reading areas, where the light is dimmer and the air feels heavier with the weight of forgotten stories. I stop in front of a shelf of poetry, my eyes catching on a worn volume of Emily Dickinson. I pull it down, the leather cover cool against my palm, and I let my thumb brush over the embossed title, feeling the grooves of the letters. There's something grounding about it, something that tethers me to this moment, away from the chaos of my thoughts. That's when I sense him, Julian. I don't hear him approach at first. It's more like a shift in the air, a subtle charge that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I turn my head slightly, and there he is, standing at the end of the aisle, closer than I expected. His dark hair falls just over one eye, a careless wave that somehow looks deliberate, framing the sharp angles of his face. There's a faint shadow of stubble along his jaw, rough and unpolished, and his gray sweater clings to his frame in a way that draws my attention despite myself, outlining the lean strength beneath. His presence feels magnetic, almost intrusive, like he's taking up more space than he should in this narrow aisle. My grip tightens on the book as he steps closer, far closer than necessary, reaching for a volume just above me on the shelf. I can feel the heat of him, the way the space between us seems to shrink with every breath. His fingers brush the spine of a novel, lingering there, almost caressing it, as if he's savoring the texture of the leather. It's an oddly intimate gesture, and I can't look away. Then his gaze locks onto mine, those sharp eyes pinning me in place, and I feel a shiver run down my spine, cold and electric all at once. His voice comes low, a whisper barely audible over the hush of the library, but it cuts through me like a blade. Your Nathaniel wants you to feel words he cannot give. The intimacy of his tone, the way he says my husband's name with such knowing weight, stops me cold. My breath catches in my throat, and I'm frozen, unable to form a response as I process the implication of his words. What does he know about Nathaniel? About us? My mind races, but before I can find my voice, his hand grazes my waist, a fleeting, deliberate touch that sends a jolt through me, shattering the oppressive silence I've grown so used to. I don't pull away. I should. Every rational part of me screams to step back, to put distance between us, but I don't. Instead, I lean into the moment, overwhelmed by a rush of something I haven't felt in so long, desire, raw and forbidden. It's like a dam breaking inside me, all the pent-up longing and frustration spilling out in this quiet corner among old books, surrounded by the scent of paper and dust under the dim glow of a nearby lamp. Julian's breath is warm against my ear now, a soft contrast to the cool air of the library, and I can feel the texture of his touch, the roughness of his fingertips through the thin fabric of my shirt. It's intoxicating, this closeness, this betrayal. My heart is pounding so hard I'm sure he can hear it, and there's a war raging in my chest, guilt clawing at me, sharp and relentless, but also this strange, exhilarating sense of liberation. For the first time in months, maybe years, I feel alive, like I'm not just existing in the shadow of what used to be. I know this is wrong. I know I'm crossing a line I can't uncross, that I'm betraying Nathaniel in a way that words could never capture. But in this moment, with Julian's hand steady against me, with the weight of guilt and desire tangled up inside me, I'm caught in a storm I can't escape. My breath is still ragged, my mind a chaotic whirl of what just happened, when I feel the air shift again. It's not Julian this time. He's already stepped back, his presence lingering like a ghost as he murmurs something about needing to check a catalog and slips away. I'm alone now, or at least I think I am, standing in this dim aisle with the poetry book clutched to my chest like it's the only thing keeping me grounded. My hands are trembling, the leather cover slipping slightly against my sweaty palms, and I can't shake the feeling of being exposed, like the library itself saw everything and is judging me in its silence. That's when I notice it. A shadow at the far end of the aisle, tall and unmoving, partially hidden by the edge of the towering shelves. My heart stutters, a cold dread seeping into my bones as I squint to make out the figure. It's him. Nathaniel. His silhouette is unmistakable, even in the muted light. He stands there, statuesque, his broad shoulders squared, his head tilted just slightly as if he's been studying me for a while. I can't see his face clearly at first, not with the shelves casting jagged shadows across him, but then he shifts, and a sliver of light catches the glint of his glasses. My stomach drops, a sickening lurch, as I take in the details I've known so well for years. The way his hands are folded calmly in front of him, fingers interlaced with a stillness that feels unnatural, and the unreadable mask of his expression as he finally steps into clearer view. I've seen him angry before, seen the quiet storm in his eyes when something's wrong, but this is different. I expect to see hurt, maybe even disgust, etched into the lines of his face after what he might have witnessed. I brace myself for it, my body tensing as if preparing for a blow, but instead, he smiles. It's slow, almost deliberate, a serene curve of his lips that sends a shiver down my spine, colder than any anger could ever be. There's no warmth in it, no familiarity, just an eerie calm that unnerves me to my core. My mind reels, trying to make sense of it. Why isn't he shouting? Why isn't he storming over to confront me? I stand frozen, rooted to the spot, the book now a dead weight in my arms as I wait for him to say something. Anything. I need him to accuse me, to lash out, to give me something I can fight against or apologize for. But he doesn't. He just holds my gaze, his eyes piercing through me with an intensity I can't decipher, like he's seeing something I don't even know about myself. It's suffocating, that look. Heavier than the library's oppressive quiet, heavier than the guilt already gnawing at my insides. I take a tentative step forward, my mouth opening to speak, though I don't even know what I'd say. Nathaniel, The words die in my throat, hoarse and useless, as he suddenly turns away. Without a sound, without a backward glance, he disappears around the corner of the shelf, leaving me alone again in this narrow aisle. The silence rushes back in, thicker now, pressing down on me until I can barely breathe. That smile, it's all I can see, replaying in my mind like a broken record. It wasn't just strange, it was wrong, like a mask hiding something I'm not ready to face. My legs feel weak, and I lean against the shelf for support, the sharp edge of the wood digging into my shoulder as I try to steady myself. What did that smile mean? My thoughts are a tangled mess, racing in circles as I clutch the book tighter, as if it could anchor me against the storm in my head. Did he see everything with Julian? How long was he standing there, watching us in the shadows? Or worse, did he know something before today? Has he suspected this? Maybe even expected it all along? The idea sends a fresh wave of nausea through me. I can't stay in this aisle any longer, not with the weight of that smile haunting me, not with the echo of Julian's touch still burning on my skin. My feet move before my mind catches up, carrying me through the labyrinth of shelves, the poetry book still pressed against my chest like a shield. I need to find Nathaniel. I need answers. The library feels different now. The once comforting quiet turned suffocating, the air thick with secrets I'm not sure I want to uncover. Every creak of the floorboards beneath my steps sounds too loud. Every shadow cast by the towering stacks seems to hide something, or someone. My heart is a frantic drum in my chest, each beat urging me forward, even as a part of me dreads what I might find. I weave through the familiar paths, past the history section where I thought he'd be, but he's not there. The rows of leather-bound tomes stare back at me, indifferent, their spines offering no clues. My breath comes in shallow gasps as I keep moving, deeper into the library, toward the quieter corners we used to claim as our own. And then I see him. He's in a small reading nook tucked near the back, a hidden alcove framed by shelves and lit by a single narrow window. He's seated in an old armchair, the soft green upholstery faded from years of use, cradling the weight of countless readers before him. A book lies open on his lap, his fingers poised over the page, and the faint scratch of his pen against the margin fills the air, a sound so ordinary, so mundane, it feels jarring after the storm of emotions I've just weathered. The light from the window spills over him, catching the streaks of gray in his dark hair, illuminating them like threads of silver woven into fabric. He looks so calm, so untouched by everything, as if the world hasn't just tilted on its axis. I stand there for a moment just watching him, my legs trembling beneath me. The contrast between this serene image and the chilling smile from earlier twists something deep in my gut. I don't know how to start, don't know how to bridge the chasm that's grown between us, but I can't keep standing here in silence. I step forward, my shadow falling across the page he's writing on, and his pen pauses mid-stroke. My voice comes out shaky, barely above a whisper, but it's enough to shatter the stillness. Why did you smile? Why didn't you stop it? He doesn't react at first, doesn't even flinch. His head tilts up slowly, deliberately, as if he's been expecting this moment all along. His eyes meet mine, calm but piercing, cutting through me with a clarity that makes my skin prickle. There's no anger there, no betrayal, just a quiet intensity that I can't escape. When he speaks, his voice is measured, almost poetic, each word chosen with care, like he's reciting lines from one of the books surrounding us. I've known for months, Chloe. I've seen the way you've drifted, the way your eyes linger on things, on people that aren't me. I noticed it with Julian, long before today, the way you'd light up, even just for a second, when he'd pass by during our visits here. I saw it, and I felt it, like a slow unraveling of everything we were. I'm frozen, my breath caught somewhere between my lungs and my throat. His words are a blade, sharp and precise, slicing through the fog of my guilt and confusion. He knew. He's known. My mind scrambles to process this, to understand how I could have been so blind to his awareness while I was drowning in my own secrets. I want to interrupt, to deny it, to say something that might salvage this, but my lips won't move. He continues, his gaze never wavering, his tone steady as if he's narrating a story that isn't ours. I didn't stop it because I wanted to see you feel something again, even if it wasn't for me. I orchestrated this in a way, not out of spite, not out of malice, but out of a need to know if there was still fire in you, Chloe. I needed to see if you could still burn, even if it meant watching you light up for someone else. And now I know. I've seen it. And I'm not angry. I'm relieved, in a way, because it means there's still something left to fight for, or to let go of. That's for us to decide. But not today. Not here. His words hang in the air, heavy and final, like the closing of a chapter I wasn't ready to end. I watch as he closes the book on his lap with a deliberate slowness, his fingers lingering on the cover as if sealing away whatever thoughts he's penned there. Then he stands, the movement graceful and unhurried, and without another word, he walks past me, his shoulder brushing mine just enough to send a shiver through me. I don't turn to follow him. I can't. My feet are rooted to the floor, my mind a storm of everything he's just laid bare. The sound of his footsteps fades into the library's quiet, leaving me alone in this nook, surrounded by the ghosts of our past and the weight of truths I'm not sure I can carry. I sink into the armchair he vacated, the faded green upholstery rough beneath my fingertips, worn smooth in places from years of hands just like mine seeking solace in this very spot. The texture grounds me, a small tether to reality as my thoughts spiral. Somewhere in the distance, I hear the faint rustle of pages turning, a reminder that life goes on beyond this alcove, beyond the chaos of my heart. The light streaming through the narrow window has shifted now, softened into a late afternoon glow that bathes everything in a warm, golden haze. It catches the dust motes floating in the air, turning them into tiny specks of light, dancing as if they know something I don't. I lean back, letting my head rest against the chair, and I close my eyes for a moment, trying to make sense of it all. Julian's touch still lingers on my skin, a memory that sends a flicker of heat through me even now. It was fleeting, forbidden, but it woke something in me, something I thought had long since gone dormant. A thrill, a pulse of life in a body that had felt like a shell for so long. But as I sit here, tracing the rough patches of the chair's fabric with my thumb, I realize it wasn't just about him. It was a symptom of something deeper, a void I've been carrying, a hunger for connection that Nathaniel and I haven't fed in years. That moment with Julian, it wasn't the answer, but it was a mirror, reflecting the emptiness I've been too afraid to face. And then there's Nathaniel. His words, his eerie acceptance, they haunt me more than any anger ever could. That smile he gave me earlier, so calm, so knowing. It's etched into my mind like a riddle I'll never unravel. It wasn't condemnation, it was something else, something I can't name. Resignation, understanding, or maybe a quiet challenge, a dare to confront what we've become. I replay his confession in my head, the way he admitted to seeing my drift, to noticing my glances at Julian long before today. He knew, and he let it happen. He wanted to see me feel again, even if it shattered what little was left of us. There's a strange tenderness in that, a twisted kind of love that I don't know how to process. It makes my chest ache, a dull, persistent pain that I can't soothe. I open my eyes, staring at the shelves that surround me, their rows of books like silent witnesses to my unraveling. And I admit it to myself, here in this quiet corner. I liked what happened. Not just the act, the stolen moment with Julian, but the breaking of our silence, the rawness of it, the way it tore through the numbness that's cloaked me for so long. It was messy, painful, wrong in so many ways, but it was real. I don't regret it. Not because I don't love Nathaniel. I do, in a way that's complicated and deep, but because in that fleeting instant with Julian, I found a piece of myself that I thought was lost forever. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.